a kind of a bad start. So I already made the whole video, and when I started watching it, when I started the playback, I there was no audio, and I just realized that I forgot to turn this mic on. It was connected to my device, but it was not on, so I have to do this again. So the thing is, I was using TrueNAS Scale for around 1 to 2 months, I guess, and the only issue that I found with TrueNAS Scale, it is kind of complicated for your NAS solution, because I was using WD Cloud and it's pretty easy, it's straightforward, but obviously it's more powerful. TrueNAS Scale is more powerful. It is a virtualization, like it is a hypervisor as well. You can deploy different services, and you can also, what you can do is you can have virtualization, you can set up virtualization as well. So in that context it's more powerful, but there was one issue that I always face. So once I log into my TrueNAS, I have NordVPN, I have NordVPN subscription, and I was trying to use NordVPN on any torrent client on TrueNAS, because TrueNAS has its own app store, so you can just go to discover apps and you can basically download a lot of apps. There are different torrent clients. I was using qbittorrent. I think transmission is also available. So the problem with qbittorrent on transmission, when you bundle it together with NordVPN or TrueNAS Scale, there's not an easy way to use NordVPN, or I think other VPNs as well, especially NordVPN, because NordVPN on qbittorrent you do get this thing called SOCKS 5 on qbittorrent, which is basically supported by NordVPN. So SOCKS 5 with auth is supported by NordVPN. So if you provide your auth and password for NordVPN, it does connect, but I don't know, there are trackers who have blocked NordVPN if you use SOCKS 5, so it never works because of the trackers. So I don't know why NordVPN is blacklisted by torrent trackers, so your downloading will never start technically. So to overcome this, I was looking for a solution, and I just realized that there is something called custom apps, which I didn't notice before. So the way you find custom apps and how you can deploy your own like solution or containers using Docker, because Docker is very powerful. I love using Docker. So I created a solution to bundle qbittorrent with NordVPN using Docker, and but it's very difficult the way they have set up this whole UI. I mean, you don't even realize how you can deploy apps using Docker. So what you have to do is you have to go to your apps, click on discover apps, and then you see this custom app option. Here you can provide container images from Docker Hub. So once I realized that we can deploy custom apps from Docker, so I said, okay, we can do this. We can make our own custom Docker container, which will download qbittorrent. It will set up qbittorrent, will start running qbittorrent on a port. We will basically forward that port, we'll map that port, and then we can have NordVPN installed and running inside that container itself. So it won't affect the whole TrueNAS Scale container. It will just be, the whole TrueNAS Scale, but it will just affect anything that will be running inside that container. So then I realized using Docker Compose, it's pretty easy, but you can't supply a Docker Compose file, although I was not able to find a way how we can do this. But because it does support Docker container repositories, so any repository that is hosted on Docker Hub, so you can provide that Docker Hub repository link here, and then it was pretty easy. So I just wrote my own Docker Hub file and I hosted this on my Docker Hub account. So you can also do this on your Docker Hub account. So if you don't know how Docker works and how you can push container your images, custom images to your Docker Hub account, it's free, it's easy. Just watch some videos, because if I start going on in details, it will take a lot of time. So although I will share this is the gist of everything. You don't have to worry about anything. So this gluten is how we'll connect to NordVPN, and this is the qbittorrent-nox from the image tagged as nox. So this will be the qbittorrent client, which we will install inside this Docker, and this would be the gluten, which is the base image created by someone, which we'll be using. It's open, it's free, And although this image needs some container variables, some environment variables, which we have already provided here, so you don't need to supply these environment variables while creating a new custom app here, because you can do this. So you can set up container entry point, which I have already set up here, and I'm using bin.sh so as my as the shell. So bin.sh would be used. There is zchrs z, yeah, whatever that is. So but I'm using bin.sh because it works on this easily. And then you can what else is there? The environment variables. You can provide environment variables again through your container UI itself, but I have done this here itself, so you don't have to provide any container variables, environment variables. All you have to do is just log into your Nord VPN account, click on manual setup. So this is not your login user ID, okay? It's different. So you just go to your Nord VPN account, get your user ID from your account ID, your user account, whatever you want to call it, from your dashboard of NordVPN. Once you have this, replace the user part with your NordVPN user ID and your password with NordVPN user ID and the country code where you want to connect. So I've set this to Canada. And once this is done, rest everything is easy. Expose. Okay, I have done this port, so I'm using this port because the 8080, there was some different port which was getting exposed from this container. So this qbittorrent and gluten container. So I replaced this with my own port number 30078. It's a random port which is not used by any service, at least by default on TrueNAS Scale. So I just used a random port. You can use any other random port that you want, or you can just follow as I did. So you can have this 30078 port itself. Rest you don't have to do anything. Just build this image on your machine, any machine, your Mac, Windows, or Linux machine. Have your Docker account ready. Log into your Docker account, build this machine on the same system, build this image on the same system, and then push this image to your Docker Hub account. So once you push this, tag this before pushing this, like tag it as latest or whatever, and then come back to apps, discover apps, click on custom, give it any name you want, container image. So you will give this any image repository for your account. So like this is for gluten, so it would be your account name, your Docker Hub account name, and whatever image name you would create and the tag for this image. Okay, once you push this, so you can verify that this has been pushed to your Docker by going to hub.docker.com. It will show up there. So click enter, input only your username and the image name, username followed by a slash in this part. Okay, and then the tag here, whatever tag is. If you want to use latest, just use latest, and make sure you select always pull image even if present on host. It will make sure that even if it has downloaded those images, it will still go ahead and fetch fresh images for you. No need to do anything. Leave everything blank. Keep scrolling. Nothing to do in networking. Port forwarding, that's very important. So click on add port forwarding, click on container port, input 30078 and 30078. In my example it's 30078. So you can just, if you're following with the same port, then just forward your containers port to your TrueNAS port, so that a port on TrueNAS can be assigned and registered to this container. Okay, we'll just use the same port. Storage, you can definitely go ahead and click on add and select the storage that where you want this container to be running, and so that you can download your torrent files to that path. So make sure you do this. And rest, I don't think you have to do anything, but there is very important setting. I don't know how I always miss it. It's very small. So what I do is just click on and do capabilities. Just find capabilities. There it is. It's under workload details section. Okay, once you find capabilities, click on add and input in caps, all in caps, net underscore, it's hard to type using one hand, type net underscore admin. Okay, it's very important that you do this. If you won't do this, then this Docker container won't be able to override the actual networking settings, and it won't be able to make the VPN connection with NordVPN or whichever VPN service you are using. It's important to do this. Make sure you do this all in caps, net_admin. It needs to be done under capabilities section. Okay. So once this is done, I think rest you don't have to do anything. Just click on install. Obviously I have not input my name and image repository because my image repository is public and I don't want to disclose it. So I don't want anyone to be using my NordVPN account, obviously. So just click input this and you will be good to go. The install button would be enabled. Just click on install. All right, so once you do this, come back to your app section, click on your application name that you created in whatever you named it for your Docker container. Click on that. It will initially show up as deploying and then it will show up as running. It hardly takes few seconds, and once you click it, you can see that it shows that there is one used port, which is 30078. So everything went right, and it has successfully, this Docker container has successfully registered a port on this TrueNAS server that we are running. So that's a good thing. Okay, so this port is now registered to this container. That's the power of Docker. That is really cool. So now this port is blocked and is used by this service. That means basically everything went right. So once this is running, click on view logs. You can also log into the shell, but we don't have to do anything with shell. Everything is perfectly set up. Once you click on view logs, click on choose. Don't do anything. Oh, perfect. There we go. Do you see that? It will show you a lot of logs, which are from definitely these other Docker containers. And allowing VPN connection, this was allowed because we added that capability. If you won't add that, then it won't be allowed by this. It won't be allowed to this container to make changes to the connection. Okay, to network connection. So just keep scrolling down. You will see. Perfect. You will see that the qbittorrent web UI is available at localhost 30078 because that's the port that we set, right? And the username is admin, and the temporary password for this session is this one. Okay, so copy this password, and perfect. There we see the public IP is this one. It's connected to Quebec server. Perfect. Everything is done. You don't have to do anything. So just go to your TrueNAS IP followed by this port number, which I have already bookmarked, and I already logged in using the password because I already set this up. So I logged in with this password. Once you log in using admin and password, this password that shows up here, just you can go ahead and go to preferences and change that password. The important part is this will start working. You will get a password and you should get a public IP displayed right here. If you get a public IP displayed right here, then everything went well and you are now connected to NordVPN server, and your qbittorrent traffic is being routed through NordVPN servers. The easy way to make sure that it's working would be to go to this website TorGuard and just click on this, right click on this download now button, and copy its link address, click on magnet and paste this link and let it download. Let's see what my actual IP address is. My actual IP address is, I have an IPv6 address. My v4 address is 223. Okay, 223 something. But as we know that my Docker container is connected through this IP address, right? So that's the same IP address that showed up here. So anything that you will download using this torrent client, the traffic will be routed through your NordVPN account. And this NordVPN account, this whole setup is using OPENVPN protocol. I also managed to do this using Nord Links, which is basically an alternate to WireGuard, which is considered to be faster. And WireGuard setup using Docker needs technically it's more complicated. You need the public keys, private keys, and those keys are not available in your NordVPN dashboard. So you have to run some APIs, some commands on your system, on your machine to fetch those. And I don't know why, but Nord Links using WireGuard was little slow than when compared to OpenVPN. I know it's kind of surprising, but yeah, that's how it is. So if you use OpenVPN, just use OpenVPN. You will get maximum connection speed, whatever your internet ISP service provide. Okay, so that's it. I'll provide this whole code in the description of this video. Just make sure you change user and password with your own account, and rest you won't have to do anything. Just save this as a Docker file. Okay, as a just save this as a Docker file on your machine, have Docker installed on your machine, then build this image, then push this image to Docker Hub after you have your obviously your Docker account ready, and then you pull this image on your TrueNAS Scale. Okay, if you don't know this, how to work with Docker, just watch few tutorials on YouTube. You will get a hang of it. Okay, if you already know, then it would be a piece of cake. So this is the Docker image. Okay, that's the image, and that's the whole setup that I showed you. Go to apps and everything. Okay, hope this was helpful. If you still get stuck somewhere, yeah, drop a comment. I'll try to reply and help you. Thanks. Bye bye.